welcome again after the short break. We are absolutely happy, and we hope that our viewers will be too, to welcome someone who is now from Houston and who is a leadership business consultant and a mediator, and who has been on our podcast as well. This is Tope Popola. Thank you so much for joining us today from Houston remotely.
Thank you very much, Natalia. Thanks for having me.
And the topic we're going to be discussing with you today is an interesting one because of your vast experience as a leader, trainer in leadership, business consultant, and you dealt a lot of humanizing the industries and giving it a human face. So I was thinking that speaking about the human face of law, so giving your legal practice a human face, might be something interesting to be discussed. And what comes to your mind when you are thinking about it, Topa?
Well, thank you very much, Natalia. People sometimes try to find a don't try to find a distinction between a business and the person who's behind the business. Now, more often, the average person can't tell the difference. Now, and this is where the whole idea comes from. You may not treat your profession as a business, which is what most people do. Lawyers just see themselves as lawyers, and that's it. It's just a profession. You go to court, you defend cases, you send, help to send people to jail or help to get people out of jail. That's all that there is to it. And so they develop a science around it. But there's an art to it, which is the dimension that brings the humanity to the profession. And this is from the understanding that business itself is a person. And you know, as a lawyer, that a business entity is treated as a legal person different from the owner. So if the law understands that the business is a legal persona, obviously the person who is doing the business must also understand that he is a person, the business is a person. And, so he must be able to find a convergence and understand that the number one bottom line about business is people. And so whether in law practice or whatever it is you do, you must understand that your platform of success is people. Whether you're talking about the internal people, those are your staff, or you're talking about the external people that you call your clients. It's all about people. Profit is found in people, not in a product, not in a profession. It's in people.
So Tope, speaking about human capital, okay, this passion that you've been discussing and talking about this topic for many, many years, you've written many books. When we've had you on a top podcast before, you went through some of your books where you've discussed this stuff in depth. But speaking about human capital, what would you say is the most important takeaway for people in our business who might be listening to this, professionally, lawyers, mediators, arbitrators, people who deal with humans' lives every day on a regular basis? What are some takeaways you think they need to know when it comes to both human capital that's working for them and humans who are their clients?
Thank you very much, Mark. Now, the most important, what I think is so fundamental, is the recognition of the fact that in the marketplace where you operate as a professional, it's a platform for connections. And so, once you understand that basic fundamental thing, you're connecting at 7 critical levels. And what are those levels? You have people in the marketplace of life, where you have clients and you have different stakeholders in the entire legal process. You have the client, you have the judge, you have some, court staff, you have It's like at every layer you're dealing with people, all right? And then what are the connections that you need to understand in the marketplace? And that's the most important thing to my mind. Number one, you must know that in the marketplace, people are connecting with people. Number two, in the marketplace, people are connecting with value. Number three, in the marketplace, you must know that solutions are connecting with problems. So you're not just a lawyer, you're a carrier of a solution. So when a person, nobody walks into a lawyer's office just to have a cup of coffee or just to go and have a chat. If you go to a lawyer, it's because you want to give him a brief. So, and it's because you believe that he can solve a problem that you have. So either you're the litigant or somebody has, somebody is taking you to court. So whichever way, whether you're the plaintiff or you're the, what's the other, you're the accused or whatever name you give to it, the critical issue is you want somebody who can solve your problem. And the lawyer at that point is your solution. So you have solutions connecting with problems, you have products connecting with values. Remember I talked about value, but I'm talking about values now. That's core values. So what is the moral? What is the ethic? What is the ethical code that drives what you do? Okay? Is it one that rips people off or that doesn't even care about where if it's all about, I just want their money rather than I want to serve them. So then you have decisions connecting with pockets. The decision of the client, okay, connecting with the pocket of the client. Because one of the things that people fail to realize is that every buying decision in the marketplace is first and foremost an emotional decision. So you decide in your emotions before your pocket follows it. Now, and then you also have experience connecting with perception. In other words, if I go to Natalia because I have a problem and Natalia gives me a very bad experience of who a lawyer is, right? What is going to be my perception about the legal profession? I'm going to come up with thing that lawyers are hawks, lawyers are terrible, and all of that. But if she gives me kingly treatment, royal treatment, even if she doesn't win my case, I will believe that lawyers have a human face and they're not the kind of terrible people that people thought they are, all right? And finally, there's purpose connecting with desire. What do I want to accomplish? What is my purpose? And so when those connections are made at those levels, then you have an excellent legal practice. Nobody can beat that.
And actually, you started with separating the business from the owner. However, for many of us, and this is what you have now been describing, we are the faces, we are the human faces of our businesses as lawyers, as mediators. So our faces are the faces that are being either bringing the clients in or are making people be reluctant to work with us.
Exactly.
So what would you say about the personal image of an entrepreneur, such as lawyer, in order to make people come and visit the business?
All right. Thank you very much. I mentioned the issue of the business as a personality, right? Not because I wanted to totally separate the business from the owner, but I want us to be able to make the connection that the business is seen under the law as human. So that simply means you need to also create the personality of that human entity for the business. And that's the only reason why you can inject that dimension into it, your dimension into it. You are the face of the business. When people come to, I don't know what the name of your practice is, but whatever the name of your practice is, when people come there, even if you have people lawyers and you have, younger lawyers, they come there because of the attraction of your brand. And this is why it's so important. People must buy into you before they buy into your service. If people don't like you, they're not going to come buy into your service. And that is why when you talk about business, one of the things I always say to people is let your strategy be driven by advocacy. It doesn't matter whether in the legal business or whatever business, you have to have a strategy that is driven by advocacy. Any strategy that is driven by advocacy will always win in the marketplace because you're touching the core of the client. And in this case, I want to use the word customer because that's more generic. Okay? So you're touching the core of the customer. So at that point, it's no longer a function of he wins a case for me or he loses. Even when you lose a case, he make excuses for you. Why? Because you are his friend first before you are his solicitor. And this is so important. Friends always get the back of friends. So when you treat your clients as friends, as family, you get personally involved. You have to be there for them. So nobody likes to be treated as a figure of statistics. Nobody likes to be treated like it doesn't matter. Like I always say, everybody loves the sound of his first name. Everybody. So if you know your customer, we talk about KYC, right? You know your customer, you're building a bridge. In other words, in building a business, learn to build relationships.
And Tope, when I was in law school, probably around 2008, 2009, I remember this professor saying that the importance of keeping your reputation intact as an attorney. That once you lose your reputation, once people start knowing you for bad things, or such as theft and immoral acts, it's very, very hard to come back from that. And we see to this day attorneys who are being disbarred and having their licenses revoked because they've decided to make some bad decisions. Can you speak very briefly to the importance of reputation, both from the legal perspective, but also how the customer will take a lawyer's reputation into consideration?
Reputation is based on people's experience with you. In other words, people form an opinion about who you are as a result of their experience with you or the experience of somebody they know with you. So, like I always say, a bad reputation spreads faster than a contagious disease. Why? Because, everybody likes to talk. Most people like to see the black dot on the white sheet of paper. And so it's easy to spread negativity. So if you love yourself, you want to build character. Now, let me say this. Reputation is what people know you for. Character is who you really are. Now, what you want to do as a solicitor or as a legal practitioner is to make sure that there is no dissonance, there is no disconnect between your character and your reputation. In other words, I like to put it this way. If your character and your reputation were to meet in the dark, would they recognize themselves as belonging to the same person? So whatever you don't want to be known for, don't get engaged in it.
Tope, that's been really informative. That's been terrific. And thank you so much for that. Just tell our viewers what and how it is best to contact you for business coaching, for business advice, for helping to set up business strategies.
Oh, yes. You can contact me by email on topeheritage@yahoo.com. I believe that's on the screen. topeheritage@yahoo.com. That's the easiest way to reach me.
Thank you so much, and we will see you after the break.
Thank you very much.